Welcome to the Happy, Healthy Life Podcast with your hosts, Rob and Randy, who reveal the truth, the lies, and confusion about health so that you are no longer the victim to mainstream medical dogma and you are the hero to your own happy, healthy story.
Welcome back to the Happy Healthy Life Podcast with your host, Rob and
Randy.
And we are
the Happy Healthy Guys.
Fresh off the presses, we've got the Real Talk episode, but fresh off the presses. If you didn't see this, I don't recommend seeing it. We're going to let you know exactly what's going on. Oprah Winfrey was on ABC on a special episode of 60 Minutes on Sunday evening. Had an hour.
Well, it was 60 Minutes at CBS.
Yes. So ABC.
It was an actual ABC prime time special. Yes.
So, which was an hour long, and it was called Shame, Blame, and the Weight Loss Revolution. So you may be thinking, okay, I've got to sit down. I've got to watch this. I'm going to see what it is that Oprah has to say. It's no, there's no covering up the fact that for her, as long as she's been on TV, that she has struggled with her weight, right? Remember when she came out even on her show and she was doing all of the weight loss, she came out in a wheelbarrow with all of the fat that she had lost. And then she has publicly since come out after that and said, hey, what I didn't tell you is that I was starving myself to death. And the day after that show aired, she immediately started gaining the weight back. And then she gained all the weight back and more, like many people do of the yo-yo dieters. And so then you remember Oprah then became a spokesperson for Weight Watchers. Yep. And then she lost all of the weight. So now she's back talking about weight loss. And if you see her, you can see that she's now once again lost all of the weight. So now she's speaking out. What a humanitarian for people struggling with weight loss. So if you tuned in and you saw it, what you saw was not how to lose weight and how to keep it off. What did you actually witness, and what did you see if you watched it?
Yeah, if you didn't watch it, I would go back and watch it, or don't watch it, and let us give you the real talk on this right out of the gate. What you watched essentially was an infomercial for the bought and paid for grifters and shills, the executives with the pharmaceutical industries, these bought and paid for doctors. Literally, it was promoting the drugs, these GLP-1 semaglutide drugs, and basically saying that obesity, which is 42% of America, unbelievable, that obesity is now a disease. And because it's a disease, there's nothing you can do about it. You are a victim. This is permanent. And the only solution, according to the quote experts, is to take these drugs for the rest of your entire life. As if it was that simple, if you could just swallow health and avoid anything hard, avoid any challenge, cut every corner and just swallow that toxic pill and all your dreams will come true. We know that's bullcrap. And when you look at this thing, you really dive in, you dissect it. There isn't any condition, no matter what it is, diabetes, heart disease, chronic illness, all the arthritis, all the metabolic problems. There's not one single pill that you can take that's going to fix your problem. Not even a supplement, right? Not even a diet. A lot of things that are promoted as healthy. None of these things get to the root cause of why people are sick, why people are overweight. And so if you believe that obesity is now a genetic condition, it's a disease, and there's nothing you can do, you're in big, big trouble, because these drugs are coming at us. It's like drinking drugs out of a fire hose right now. They're flowing everywhere and coming at us full steam.
Yeah, and I think it's really important that people understand what the messaging was on this, because everybody knows Oprah, right? She's going to pull on the heartstrings. That's what it is that she does, and she made a living doing it. She said this, and I quote, "I wanted to do this special for more than 100 million people in the United States and over 1 billion people around the world who are living with obesity." The reason she said the word obesity rather than saying, this was very well scripted, by the way, you guys, okay?
Yes,
the reason she said it this way, because she could have gone on there and said the 100 million people in the United States who struggle with their weight, or the 1 billion people around the world who struggle with trying to keep weight off, or struggle with their metabolism, or struggle with just trying to be able to look their best. The reason she used the word obesity is because if you watch the program, the entire time, even the case studies and the testimonials, the people that she brought on air, they continue to keep on using the word obesity. The reason they did it is because they were planting seeds in your mind. The seed that they were planting in your mind is that, and they walked you through the steps. Here's the steps. I tried everything. And this is listening to the people who were on there. I tried everything. I was eating all of the right healthy foods. I was exercising. She had a 16-year-old girl who was on there saying, I tried everything. I didn't like the way I looked. I was ashamed. I didn't want to go outside. I didn't want to hang out with friends. And so my mom took me to the doctor. And when I went to the doctor diagnosed me with obesity.
Diagnosed me with
That's obesity.
A key word.
And then gave me a prescription. So she got a prescription for one of these GLP-1 drugs. She could not get a prescription if there was no diagnosis. If she was diagnosed as needing to lose weight, that's not a condition, okay? So because she now has the condition being obesity, they can now give her a medication. And here's what they said on the show. They asked point blank, once somebody starts taking this medication, whether it was Mounjaro, okay, or Mounjaro, that's the one that this one was talking about right here. Or there was one, a lady on there named Amy that was taking the Mounjaro. I want to make sure that I get that correct. But another one is Ozempic. Mounjaro and Ozempic is the same company, okay?
And then what Eli Lilly makes the Wegovy.
Wegovy, exactly.
Injections, yeah.
And so then they said, okay, once you start taking these medications, is this something that you're going to need to do for the rest of your life? They brought in medical doctors who they told worked for these companies, okay? So you knew as you were watching that they worked for the companies. These doctors, the medical experts said, yes, these are medications that you're going to need to take for the rest of your life, because if you get off the drug, then you're going to gain the weight back. So what they're also telling you is that you're now a customer for life. If you're really listening and you're asking good questions, well, why is it that you would need to take that for the rest of your life? The simple answer would be because they know that it's not getting to the cause of the problem that you just said, Randy. It's not getting to the cause of the problem, which is the only reason why you would have to keep on taking that medication for the rest of your life. So what they're really saying, and what Oprah was saying when she was talking about those 100 million people, that right there, or billion people worldwide, that's 100 million customers, 1 billion customers worldwide. This right here is why these are the fastest growing drugs on the market. It's not to get you healthy. It's to make them billions and billions, if not trillions of dollars.
No, I mean, that's, you couldn't say it any more clear than that. And what really was disturbing, and it was disturbing, the way they presented this primetime ABC special with Oprah as the face. She clearly took the deal. And because the way they presented it in this infomercial style, this educational piece, they were able to promote these drugs without having to list and warn the consumer about all the devastating effects these drugs have on your body. You know, if you watch a drug commercial, if you've ever noticed, there's in the really fast, quick language, small print across the bottom of the screen with the pretty music playing, they're literally telling you all the problems that you're going to get, potential, they call them side effects, which is a medical term, a pharmaceutical term.
All effects.
Well, there's only cause and effect.
Exactly.
There's no cause and side effect. But they were able to skip over that, mitigate, jump around that, and not have to go through that, and only present the positive side of this.
They asked about the side effects. This is the quote. Here's what they said. They said, medicines have side effects, but the important part is that they're mild to moderate. That's what they said on the show.
Yeah, let me
that's
give you.
That's all they said. Well, it's mild to moderate.
They say, well, they basically, this quote side effects have been sensationalized. Let me ask you this, Dr. Rob, because I talked to, and this is a true story. I talked to a lady yesterday, and one of her good friends, she had approached me. She knows what we do. She was like, "Hey, what do you think about these drugs?" I told her what I thought, and she said, "I've got a friend right now. She is in the hospital. She's had 3 surgeries, and she's been on these drugs now for months." And what's happened is it's called gastroparesis. Her entire gastrointestinal tract has stopped working. It's completely frozen. And because of that, they're saying that they're gonna have to remove her colon. She's gonna be on a colostomy bag for the rest of her entire life. Does that sound mild to you? Does that sound like we're overhyping or being hyperbolic with the problems? In fact, what they're saying, they didn't talk about this because they were so smart the way they positioned this, almost this hit piece on these people that are hurting and suffering across our country, is they said there is a massive spike in ER visits on these drugs. Pancreatitis, we've talked about this, malnutrition, because basically these drugs are injectable anorexia. They make you think you're full, and so you don't eat any food, so you become malnourished. You're getting blurred vision. And check this one out. I don't know if anybody has heard of this, but one of the biggest things happening right now, and if you see these people, you'll pick them out of a lineup. It's called Ozempic face. That is a new term they have coined because your face gets droopy because the way you lose weight, one of the areas you lose it rips fat out of your face, and it breaks down collagen and elastin. Because most of the weight loss people are losing, it's muscle. What do you think muscle's made of? Amino acids, connective tissue made of amino acids. So it's breaking down elastin, collagen, ripping fat from your face. So you get that saggy, wrinkly, droopy, sucked in face look. This is a real thing. Ozempic face. Oh my God is the better term. And one of the reasons I think this is happening, I don't have the study to support this. We were talking about this earlier, so I don't want to come across as if I have read this and validated this study. But when you think about GLP-1 drugs, and this would make sense, GLP stands for glucagon-like peptide. We know glucagon is a very important hormone in your body. And obviously in a healthy metabolic environment, that hormone plays a role, works together with insulin and other hormones to help you make sure your body is using fat and carbohydrate for fuel. Well, glucagon, it triggers the liver to begin to make glucose. And guess how your liver makes glucose? It needs amino acids. So where does it get its amino acids from? It is ripping it from your muscle, your connective tissue, your collagen, your elastin, and it's using that to make the glucose. So if it's a glucagon-like peptide, it would have to have that impact. I don't know. And once again, I'm not saying there's a study out there that supports that, but in my mind, knowing what that hormone does naturally in the body and then injecting it in as a glucagon-like peptide, you can see why people are gaining the weight back, because the weight you're losing is you're losing your muscle mass, which plays a huge role in your metabolic profile.
Yeah, and speaking of that, so losing that muscle mass, that was lost on in that conversation with that Oprah Winfrey corporatized special that was out the other night, right? And so, and one of the things that they did is they glossed over those things because they didn't want you to think it was a bad thing, because of course this is what it is that they were selling. But they were at the end, if you watch at the end, they had the representatives from the drug companies on there having airtime, and they were eager to recharacterize obesity as a disease, requiring their medication to fix it rather than it being a preventable and curable thing. And we're going to talk about solutions so that you're not having to do this. That right there should tell you the fact that they had the drug manufacturers and their representatives there should have told people that, you know what, this right here isn't a piece to help people. This is a piece to be able to help those companies right there, which is really disturbing if you think about it. It's like, how in the world could this be happening right now, right under our noses?
It felt incestual. They're not all just sleeping in the same bed. These are the same people, the people that we trust our families with, that are it's an ancestral relationship between them, who's funding these studies, the executives, the doctors, the drug companies, the government, Walt Disney and ABC. I mean, this is disgusting. It's disturbing. It is very calculated. And there's nothing about that piece. Once you can dive in and break it down and look at face value, what this thing was all about. This was, like you said, it was about helping people become healthier and live their best life. Who wants to be on drugs the rest of your life? I've never met one person, Dr. Rob, who said, you know what? My best life is being addicted to drugs and taking these drugs and being dependent on drugs and being a victim and having all these diseases and going to doctors and living my life this way. That sounds like a great life. That sounds like the sickest people that I know.
It does. And then they have Oprah, the one person on the face of the planet that is very recognizable when it comes to weight loss and body image and loving your body. But she came out and said, you know what? I didn't love my body. She was telling everybody, she was like, when she was with Weight Watchers, because they knew it didn't freaking work, which is why they said, okay, you could be counting points and you could still be overweight. And it's okay because it's what's on the inside that actually counts, not what's on the outside.
And not that we don't agree with that, but that's a bull crap way to describe it, because I can promise you nobody's happy being overweight and they're not healthy.
I can tell you, I like looking in the mirror, being fit and thin and at my best way more than being overweight for a lot of different reasons. And I would say that, you know what? Everyone else is the exact same if you're going to get honest with yourself. But what she came out on this special and said is she said that, you know what, that wasn't actually true. I wasn't happy with myself, right? So then she was now giving these people permission to not be happy with themselves. And the solution to be happier with themselves is to now take these drugs. This right here. And they kept on calling it a freaking miracle. You know, it would be a miracle if you could actually take this drug and it healed your metabolism, because it doesn't happen. Oh my God. That would be a freaking miracle.
Well, aren't they in the drug commercial with Ozempic? They're playing off that 1975 hit, Oh, It's Magic. Oh, what is it? It's magic. And it's like, Ozempic. Give me a break. Are you kidding me with that? Number one, you butchered a great song. And number two, that is smart too, because they know these jingles, these songs, they get into your brain. How many drug commercials are people being programmed with? You're seeing thousands of hours of drug commercials every single month of your life.
You know why they did it is because that song came from the same generation who are their number one clients.
God bless
That's
America.
why they did it, to be able to go back to that. So it's pure evil. So we know that that's not how it is that you correct this weight loss issue. We know that it is an issue. We know that it is a problem. That's why we do what we do. And so just like we always say, if we're going to have a problem, we need a solution for it. Okay. So we got to get to the cause. So what's the cause of why you're struggling to lose weight and not be able to keep it off, regardless of all of the things that you've tried? You're eating good, you're exercising, you're doing all the things that you know to be right because you've believed all of this crap that we just talked about. So what is the solution? The solution is, well, what's causing you to have this issue? The thing that's causing you to have this issue is you have a metabolism problem.
Thank you. Thank you. Real talk right there. And lastly, we'll get to solutions here. And thank you for letting us rant. Sometimes you just got to disrupt this nonsense, turn over the tables. They're lying to us. This executive at Eli Lilly says this, quote, people are really understanding that this is a disease. No, they're not.
You're telling them it is.
You freaking a-hole. No, they're not. You're lying to people. You're misleading people. You're taking their money. You're destroying their life. People aren't realizing that. They know they don't want to take drugs, but this is the lie you keep telling people. It's what you said, Dr. Rob. This is a metabolic problem. This is a metabolic issue. Therefore, it has a metabolic solution, which is why, like you said, this is why we do what we do. You can analyze your metabolism. It can be improved, and it doesn't mean you have to be on a diet the rest of your life. In fact, diets are doing the same things as drugs, because if you have weight loss resistance, if you can't lose the weight, if you struggle, and you're frustrated, dieting is treating the symptom of a metabolic problem. In fact, dieting will make it worse. Fasting is treating the symptom of a metabolic problem. You can't starve yourself. You can't take supplements and pills. The latest protein powder is not going to do it. You can't count calories and starve yourself. You're making everything worse. Isn't any of those things. It's getting to the cause of the problem, which is, What is disrupting your metabolic profile? And we start having these conversations, we can begin to make headway and start helping this real epidemic, because it is an epidemic. And this $100 billion they're planning on making with these drugs over the next 6 years, we can pull people out of this model. You do not have to be a victim to this drug culture. We have seen what happens when you install drugs into a culture. The culture deteriorates. It becomes sicker, weaker, more depressed, and becomes more dependent. And we create these victims. Drug culture is American culture. You've got to stop being a part of the culture. Pull yourself out of it.
Absolutely. I'm living proof that you can actually get out of that. You can get out of that. Haven't had a weight problem and or issue now for the last 14 years since we started doing what it is that we do, because I have a healthy metabolism now. That's why we do what we do, because we can show you how you can be able to overcome having a weak or metabolism that's not working the way it's supposed to. One of the easiest things to do is, if you want to get information on how to be able to heal your metabolism, go back and listen to previous podcasts. We've got, 70 episodes that talk about how to do this. However, something that's way more simple than that is get into our challenge that we're doing, and it starts next week. It starts March the 25th. So if you're listening to this right now and it's hadn't gotten here yet, get into the challenge. All you got to do is go to h2thinchallenge.com. It's a free challenge. We're going to spend literally 3 days going over with you exactly, number one is why it is that you're struggling with your metabolism, why it's not working, and then we're going to show you how to heal it. We're going to show you how to be able to have the metabolism that you always wanted, so that you can be able to look into the mirror and love the person who is looking back at you. Not just on the inside, but you can love how it is that you feel on the outside. You don't have to be embarrassed to go out in public. You don't have to be embarrassed to take the photos. You don't have to be embarrassed to do the presentation at work or at church or wherever because you don't like the way it is that you look. You don't have to be embarrassed to get into a swimsuit. Swimsuit season is coming up. Get into that challenge. We're going to give you our very best stuff so that you're going to have practical, do-level things that you can start doing immediately, literally on the first day. You're going to be able to start doing those things to be able to get your metabolism back on track the way it's supposed to without putting these harmful medications and drugs into your body. So it's March the 25th. It's going to be at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time live. We're going to do another live presentation. It'll happen every day at 7 p.m. So if you're working, that's okay. We've got a replay. We also have a way for you to be able to have all of the videos for the rest of your life. So once you join the challenge, we have some options in there. We've got options in there to be able to even have a pantry makeover if you're like, you know what? I don't know what in the world to do. Right. Just come in. And this is something that we've done before where we literally go into somebody's pantry and just go, okay, let's just start removing all the things that are disrupting your body's metabolism or causing your metabolism not to work the way it's supposed to. And now let's replace it with these things. So we've actually done that for you. So we've got an option for you to be able to do that. We've got some great recipes. So we've got options for recipes. If you're that person that you're like, I don't know what to cook, I don't know what to buy at the grocery store, we're going to show you how to do that. We're making this simple for you because we don't want you falling into this trap of thinking the only solution for you is to take a drug that you got to take for the rest of your life that's going to make you sicker and sicker and sicker for the rest of your life. We're going to show you how to do that and be healthy for the rest of your life.
Yeah, these drugs are what, 20 grand a year to stay on. Can you imagine? And insurance covers some of this, but it's going to run out. It won't cover it forever. And it's still masking the symptom. It's not getting to the cause. And that's the biggest thing. In order to be healthy, you have to, the cause is the cure. And I think you said this earlier, Dr. Rob, nobody's overweight and sick from a lack of Ozempic or a deficiency in toxic chemicals. That's never been the situation. People are, when we say this all the time, remember that God doesn't make junk. If you're struggling with your health, if you are overweight, we're not minimizing that. We know we're best equipped to help the people we used to be. Rob, you're in the perfect position. I overcame late stage cancer, which was a metabolic condition. I didn't treat the cancer. I got to the cause. My body was able to heal. If I can do that, if you can lose 65 pounds, keep it off, there isn't anything you guys can't do. So we want to encourage you to know that, listen, it isn't your fault. Maybe it is just your metabolism and you've never had anybody help you go in and dive deep there and figure out what is disrupting this metabolic issue in my body. We're going to help reveal that and make it so, I wouldn't say easy, but we're going to make it simple, because you just got to know the roadmap. They gave you the roadmap to taking drugs for the rest of your life and spending all of your money, making yourself sicker. We're going to give you the roadmap how to invest in yourself. Your greatest investment is you. You are your greatest investment. And the greatest stock in the world is inside of you. God does not make junk. The best stock in the world's on the inside of you. Never forget that. The body does not need more help healing. It really just needs no interference. So go to and get registered for this free challenge at H2, that's the letter H, number 2, thin, THIN challenge.com, H2thinchallenge.com. Get registered. Dr. Rob and I are going to bring our best content. We're going to give you the roadmap. We're going to show you how to make this simple so it's not confusing, so you're not going to get stuck, so you can lose weight, do it healthy, holistically, and then keep it off and never gain it back, and set yourself free from this medical cartel, this medical industrial complex who's making more drugs, more shots, more pills, more chemicals to poison us into health, which just cannot be done. If you think like we do, if you believe in natural health, if you don't like taking drugs, you want to be a part of this challenge.
Absolutely. And so if you're driving right now, I don't want you to wreck. I'm going to make sure that we get the website and the resources into the show notes. So when you get to a stopping point, you can be able to click on that, get into that, that challenge. And you also want to hurry up and do that, because we only have a limited amount of spaces to be able to get into our laser coaching, which is where we'll answer your questions live. So whatever question that you have, bring as many as you want. We're going to get through all of those questions, or as many of those questions as we possibly can, but you have to be registered in the Zoom laser coaching to be able to get that. So you want to make sure that you hurry up and do it if you haven't already do it, but don't do it while you're driving. Let's wait. Okay.
Great advice, Dr. Will.
Yeah, there you go. So there you go. So we love you. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Real Talk with the Happy Healthy Life podcast, and myself, Robin.
Randy.
And so we love you.
Love you guys. That's the Real Talk. Be blessed.
Thanks for listening to the Happy Healthy Life podcast. If you enjoy the show, make sure to follow them on Instagram at the H2 Life, or on YouTube and Facebook at the Happy Healthy Guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, and review the show wherever you listen to podcasts.